Hey everyone, my name is Neal Karski, and I'm the CEO of Patient Engine, a seven-figure digital marketing, lead conversion, and coaching agency for high-ticket aesthetics providers. And I would like to personally welcome you to the Aesthetics Millionaires Show, where we sit down with industry entrepreneurs to talk about their personal journeys and discuss proven growth strategies. My genuine hope is that through this podcast, we can create more success stories in this industry and help more business owners scale past their competition. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have another amazing episode today here on YouTube and Spotify. We have the amazing Ashley Reese. She's the owner of the Standard Med Spa in Cleveland, a beautiful, beautiful space. She's an aesthetic nurse and injector, and she's here to share with us her amazing story. Thanks so much for joining us, Ashley.
Hey, Neal, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Tell us, let's just dive right into it like we always do. Tell us your story about getting into this industry and becoming an entrepreneur.
All right, so I'm old school. I was in aesthetics before it was cool, when it was very taboo to get Botox. I worked in the ER as an RN, and my attending physician was like, hey, let's go take a Botox class. And I was like, excuse me? We're going to do what? So she had me sign up for this Botox class. She got me because it was in Florida and it was going to be nice and sunny. And the rest is kind of history. When I told my parents that I was jumping out of the hospital life and going into aesthetics, like going to do Botox, my mom cried and told me I was going to ruin my life. So, from there, I worked very PRN, like 2 days a week, doing Botox and filler in her tiny little one-room med spa. And I was posting on Instagram. This was probably, I want to say, 2016. And yeah, pretty early. And this company, the American Academy of Facial Aesthetics, found my post and they were like, hey, we want you on our team. Let us train you up and get you out there injecting people. So then for the next few years, I was a national trainer with their company and trained all over the country, got really great at aesthetics, was on national videos everywhere for it. And VO Med Spas, now owners, they found me and they were like, hey, we have this concept. We want to franchise out, Botox and fillers. Will you come work for our team? So we worked in this tiny little med spa, and I would draw up Botox on the old owner's like frat fridge, like little mini fridge. And then 7+ years with them, I opened 63 locations. And I was like, guys, 64 has got to be my own. So very,
Wow.
very long career in aesthetics.
What did you learn from working in a franchise setting and, working in the spas, also helping to open spas? How did that help to shape you and your ability to become an entrepreneur and maybe skip the learning curve? Obviously, you've skipped a lot of the learning curve.
Yeah.
And make better decisions, make less mistakes when going into this business. Because a lot of people, I think, go into this business and I feel like they're just not focusing on the right things, or they maybe have just a distorted idea of reality of like what it will take. And I think you've seen the industry progress a lot more than most people who are kind of going into this maybe potentially a little late because well, it's better late than never, I guess you could say, but very saturated industry it has become. So let's walk us through some of those like really pivotal experiences that shaped you and your ability to make better decisions.
Yeah. So I will say the spa that I was at, it went from being a tiny one med spa with one injector, one esthetician, VO, and then growing into, like you said, a huge franchise. So I feel like you do lose that personal connection with those patients. Like, we can only treat them how we can in the room, but then you have the front desk treating them differently. There's not a lot of control. So you lose that closeness that I think is needed, because like you said, it's saturated with a med spa on every corner. How do you make yourself stand out? How do you make yourself different? And I think you really need to have excellent care, and you need to know your patients, and you need to make the treatments personalized, and you have to make it an experience versus that treat them and street them mentality. Which I see a lot of med spas doing, because they're just like, hey, I'm a medical professional. Here's your Botox. Give me the money and head out. Whereas, like, really, I think the people are looking for a closer bond and experience. Like, why do I need to be here? So definitely that. Also, I agree, it's kind of late to start a med spa, right? Because there's one on every corner. So I think you really need to set yourself apart and make it different in order to compete in this market. Because you have someone down the street saying like, hey, come get Botox for $8. Why would they come to yours for 14? So definitely need to set yourself apart there. But also, I think the margins aren't where they used to be. So that's difficult too.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, right?
What would you do differently if you were to start a med spa today?
Ooh, okay. And especially with, like, I came with patience, I came with experience. So I think it would be hard to just be an owner that has no medical experience. I think you definitely need to have somebody that's credentialed that owns the business. Otherwise, they can walk and take your book of business. And you need to be very smart about those costs. So unfortunately, it's buying in bulk and staying true to one brand. You kind of got to start with one brand. If it's Allergan and Botox, go with it until you kind of level up so you can make some money, because it's expensive to play in this game.
What else?
Let's see. Just trainings, constantly staying above the rest. You have to stay training and stay away from trends. I feel like people are like, oh my gosh, there's a new Botox or a new wrinkle relaxer, Lativo, or this or that. Let's jump on it. And I think people need to sit back and like watch things play out in the market first for at least 6 months before jumping on trends.
What about sales and marketing?
Okay, so a thing that I see a lot of problems, because I train people all over the country, right? I think that you have a medical provider that will start brand new in this, and they don't realize that your injector, as an injector, you're a salesperson. And it's a different type of sales though, because you have to sell through education. Because you can't just be like, hey, spend $1,000 on Botox and there we go. It is educating them why they need that many units, or like, hey, we don't just need upper face, we need lower face. Or why do we need this big expensive skincare? You have to be so educated that you can sell them to want that product or service.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. I think most people don't realize that these days people have options, right?
Yes.
And whereas I'm sure where you started, it was like this particular spot was like the only option, right? So
Yeah.
if you wanted to do it, you went there. They really didn't have offers or anything like that,
No.
right? Maybe, you always paid for everything full price. And it was like, all right, this is it. We're going to do it, right? And then as the industry became more popular and more saturated, it became more competitive and then it became about marketing, about sales, about relationships, right? And educating people and educating. The better you could educate somebody and the better you could connect with somebody, the more you'd be able to sell too, right?
Yeah.
But now these days, given that everything's so competitive, I know even in my spas, like everybody should be incentivized to sell in some ways, right?
Right.
Because everybody's got some touch points with clients, or outside of work, people have a network as well that they could tap into, right?
Yep.
So tell us a little bit more maybe about that, about how you've been able to kind of like build a culture where there is alignment, where there's proper incentives in place, where it's everybody's kind of promoting the brand in some ways.
Absolutely. We have such a great team. Culture is everything. If you have no culture, you have nothing. Um, I think it's really tricky with sales because you don't want your providers to sell just to sell to get extra money, right? So we do KPIs, the key performance indicators, where it's okay, if you're X amount booked, then you can reach a goal. Or if we hit certain skincare goals, um, we kind of try to make them more reasonable. So it's not just like overselling to the patient, like, oh man, I need to do 10 fillers. You don't want them pushing things on people, right? Because we're still medical. We're not, even though we are sales. So we try to do things a little bit not to promote like overfilling faces or stuff like that. We also give our staff like perks for when they refer patients, like X amount of dollars when you refer your patients, you get it in your own like employee beauty bank because we'll give services. And of course, we like to give them free when we can, but then you earn those beauty banks too. Like we have a Cyton BBL and Moxie laser. So instead of paying for the tip for the Moxie, we'll be like, oh my gosh, look, you refer these people, you have money in your beauty bank. So this is like free for you. So just finding other like loopholes, or we have a membership. So our front desk to like kind of include them. We're like, okay, so you sold X amount of memberships this month and we'll give them a dollar amount per membership just to incentivize them and keep it not as, keep the culture as good as we can.
If you were to going back to the question we talked about sales and marketing, if you were to start practice from scratch, and like you said, you didn't come with a book of business, what would be some like the first three things you would do to get yourself, in a good spot, both from a new client generation standpoint and operationally?
Okay, stuff I love. Referrals are everything in this business because, like we both said, there's a med spa in any corner. You can go everywhere. People have options. So, what I've personally done is I've linked up with like local Pilates studios, and a lot of places have memberships now. So, for all of their members, there was one down the road, they had like 100 members. We gave all of their members a coupon card, a little card with our name that said, you can redeem this for either a free lip flip or a free B12 shot. And out of those 100 members, we had 80 people come to us. And when they came in, of course, that was like free, but they were like, oh, can we do laser? Can we do other Botox? So maybe we had 5 or 10 just get the shot. And we're like, okay, that's fine. We're out on that. But like, at least they know we're here. They can tell other people about us. So that portion of marketing, like tee up with local businesses around you, female oriented businesses. And Instagram is still big. I think it's very big.
The best way and the most cost effective way to get in front of a large audience very quickly. You know what I mean? Whereas
Yes.
like you would be paying a lot for like Google, which I think Google ads are a very specific market formula that you have to kind of crack, and that can change very easily. Whereas in like, for example, meta ads, right? You're throwing out a specific offer to a large number of audience in your local community, in your market, whatever, and you're generating demand. So I do think that it's still the best way to get in front of a large number of people if you want to pay. Obviously, content is still working really well, but you also have to be very intentional about content, because some of the content is going to your existing followers, some of them it's going to people who aren't your followers, but content can also go to can go on the other side of the country, sometimes. So it's not guaranteed to hit like your local audience and say, oh wow, like look at what Ashley's doing with this lip technique or whatever it is, right? It's so I think what I always try to tell people is like, um, views are not as important these days, right?
Yes.
It's the right views. It's your, like, the audience you're reaching, how you're engaging with them. Like, what is it really doing for your business? Like, are you, is there positive traction? Are you getting more reviews at the least? Are you getting more engagement? Are people actually inquiring about treatments? Are you getting more butts and seats? Like, what's going on?
Yes, no, I completely agree with you. And I tell injectors all the time, I'm like, who is your audience? Is your audience patients to gain more customers, or is it like other injectors? Because I see this silly content sometimes where it's an injector, like maybe even kind of joking or bashing almost like the clients, like, oh, when they're late or ha ha ha. And I'm like, wait, but who's your demographic? Who are you trying to reach? Like, you have to be very, very intentional.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I see it too. I see people. I don't know. I also see people using their. Um, I like. I feel like I like using personal brand to help with business, but using business for personal brand usage is kind of weird in my opinion.
I agree. I completely agree with you.
Right? It's like somebody on business talking about their daily lives. It's like, I don't know.
Eh, right? You're like,
Um, I feel like your business Instagram, but but it's interesting how you say like, because there's a lot. I've seen a lot of skits of like how how we would like people responding to like or people enacting like scenarios, like you said, like, oh, how we feel when our clients are late or something like that, or how we feel when our clients cancel, or like the way we or the look we give our clients when X happens, right? It's like,
yes. I'm like, ooh, I hope your clients aren't looking at this.
right, what is this for?
Right? You're like, ooh, this is
What
offensive.
kind of content would you say that you've produced or your team has produced that's been very impactful for your business?
Before and afters are huge. People like to see transformative results. I have people that come in a lot, patients that come in and they're like, oh, I was looking at your results and I want something that looks like this. Or what did you do to her? Because I want something like this. Um, so definitely before and afters are big. And even though I feel like they don't get a lot of views, like you're saying, educational ones, because the patient was like, oh, I was really holding off on this laser because I thought it had more downtime. But after reading this, this isn't a lot of downtime and it's something I could do. So
Hmm.
definitely before and afters in education.
Anything else? What do you think? What do you think would do well? If you had to throw in like one more thing
Yes.
that you feel like maybe isn't like fully, I think obviously like I think people count entertainment a lot.
Yeah,
I think entertainment a lot of times garners views,
it
but
does.
maybe it doesn't equate to like conversions, right? In
No,
some ways.
I will say another one that actually gets me a lot of people in the chair or calling and questioning is when I actually show my face and show my personality and kind of talk to the camera. I think people also really like that. Not so much in a skit way, but like simple. I was educating about the lower face Botox, and I had three calls the next day because people are like, wait, I think I need this. Can we schedule this? So definitely showing your face, unfortunately, showing your personality.
Okay. Okay. So given like a little bit more of a humane type of personalized like connection type of
Yes,
video.
they want to feel like they know you.
I feel like a lot of people, if you can be genuine, because you can bullshit anyway, anything you want in content these days, right? Like
Right.
perception is reality, right? But I do feel like people resonate with your personal experiences, like the practice what you preach stuff, right?
Yes.
So for me, the biggest thing, a lot of people, I feel like I have respect and authority in this space because a lot of people, I like to show like my numbers too for my spas, and people are always like, well, if you're on a marketing agency, you should be doing well in your spas. And I was like, yeah, I do. Here's my numbers. So, or here's what's working for me. And this is what I do for my clients. I'm like, hey, here's the thing we're doing for hiring. Here's the thing we're doing. I love what you said about partnerships. Here's
Yes.
a new, a partnership avenue that we're utilizing to potentially get referrals. Here's how to structure partnerships and what we've done. So some of those things that I feel like, it's like, this is not like, hey, you should do this, but hey, it's working for me. It could also potentially work for you, right?
Yeah.
And attaching your face to it and stuff like that. So I definitely think people, you know, uh, content isn't any sort of piece of information is about should be about building trust in some ways. So I think that when we're putting out content that actually is genuine and authentic, and actually we can back by something, it helps us to engage with our potential clients and maybe nurture our existing clients too.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
So you guys have tell us about. I know you came with an existing book of business, but what were some of the key things? I know we probably touched on some of them, but what were some of the key things? Like, maybe two or three key things that you would say are behind the success you've had in getting this thing scaled to seven figures.
Okay, so I did come with a book of business, which was nice, but I have two other injectors that did not come with one. So I think that being educated is huge. Again, you need to set yourself apart. Getting out in your community, showing your face, working with, like you said, partnerships. It is so huge. Word of mouth is everything, because if Neal trusts me with his Botox, then maybe his brother will and his friend too. Um, so those are big. Those are what help scaled as well. Posting those openings online, getting in front of the camera, all of it. There's so much, but really, I think it's having good education in those consults. Those consultations are key, and having follow up with your patients. So for us, with a brand new person, the day after their treatment, we are calling and we're checking up, even though we're not expecting your Botox to kick in for 14 days. We're checking up and just seeing how you are in general. That follow through, letting people know, like, hey, we're here. We're not just some big med spa or that doesn't care. You're just another number. It's very personalized. We want to know how you're doing. We want to bring you back in those 2 weeks for Botox or a month for that filler. We're just with you along the way. So as a little guy that's starting off new, you need exceptional patient care when you do have those patients in your seat.
One more.
Yeah. Getting yourself out there. You have to get yourself out there. You have to do some type of marketing. I am constantly collaborating with other female owned businesses, whatever works best for you, whatever referrals you have. But I mean, I could rattle off 5 that we've worked with this month alone. So definitely partnering up.
What would you say, like, now, you guys are basically at a point where you're outgrowing your location. So what's the game plan? What's the strategy?
Next, or
What's next?
so
Yeah, what's next for your brand?
okay, so we've outgrown it. That was another thing. I wanted to start small, and we probably have a 900 to 1,000 square feet building, and we wanted to be absolutely bursting at the seams before we had to move. So what's next is hiring more practitioners. Um, but with that, it needs to be very intentional, a need that we need within our business. We don't have a strong wellness arm, so I want to hire someone that focuses on that. But it's also continuing to get clients in the door. Um, so what's next is really focusing on our marketing strategies to help grow our second location.
Do you imagine going like corporate or a franchise ever? What's What's your vision?
It's not. So I love it for some people. I kind of had a taste of that corporate world, and it's not for me. I would open a second location before I would do any type of franchise. So I think two is perfect for me. Other maybe three, right? But that's about it.
When do you think somebody is ready for like when should you like start planning for a second location? Like what's the best practice for that? Because a lot of people I feel like they're like, oh, I need to open another location. I'm like, oh wait, like how's your first location doing? Like, do you have the time? Is your marketing dialed in? Are your sales dialed in? Are your processes dialed in? Like, when do you think is a good time?
Yes. So you kind of dabbled on it earlier. Knowing your numbers is key. You have to understand and know your numbers because even though, oh my gosh, we did 300,000 this month, but like, what was your profit? So we really need to know those numbers. Um, but when it's time for a new location, I think it is when you have no more room for growth in that current location. You've maximized those hours that are there. Those rooms should be full at all times, right? And then it's like, okay, we kind of have nowhere to put anyone. It's time for location two.
What else do you think should be in place from like an operational perspective? So my second question, and my third question is, as an owner, where do you feel like where should your mind and heart be in play at that point, so that way you can also make sure that the existing location has your attention, continue to have your attention, and it's kind of stable, and your next one you can offer the same to the next one.
Absolutely. So I'm really big on structure. We have like standard operating procedures for our front desk to our esthetician to our injectors. So everyone knows kind of like what they should be doing. Or if they're not sure, we have a binder and they can go straight to it and kind of figure it out, or obviously come to us. So that really needs to be in place. You really have to have a good structure because otherwise it's kind of the blind leading the blind. Structure is key. And then to give it both attention for two locations, you have to have either a good manager to have give those both of those locations just the attention they need. I know on Thursdays now I am blocking admin time so I can sit down and go over things with our staff. I can do stuff on the back end. I can make sure I'm updating our standard operating procedures for all positions as needed.
Are you in your practice? Do you guys have a practice manager, or are you doing a lot of that, taking a lot of the responsibilities?
I have been taking on a lot of those responsibilities, but as we move, I am going to move someone into that position for me.
Yeah. And what do you think is critical when you're gonna get that person in place? Like, what are some of the like non-negotiables this person has to have and do for you to kind of bring them on for you to trust them? Because I do see a lot of times there's misalignment between in communication gaps and in expectation gaps between owners, managers, and staff, especially when it comes to sales too.
Yeah.
And I do think that I think it's also sometimes tough to find managers who are like very operationally sound, but also sales and marketing sound, right?
Yes.
But ultimately a practice director should be able to kind of at least oversee both in some capacity. So let's cover the must-haves for that position.
Yeah. Definitely, I think having someone that can understand the KPIs or key performance indicators with you, have a really great knowledge of those because those help propel the business forward. Um, that's like a non-negotiable for me. They have to kind of understand those because that too will tell us like, wow, we really need to like look into our marketing for X, Y, and Z based off of these. So definitely going back to knowing those numbers. Um, yeah, I think that one is the biggest one for me.
What about like the um the alignment between you and a manager, like their understanding of how you want things done, or potentially like how, or maybe giving them the autonomy to execute? Like, what does that look like as you're envisioning this hire?
Yes, I don't want to be a micromanager. So I think I would have this person shadow me for a certain amount of time. It just kind of depends on, how well it's going. Shadow me for a good 6 weeks or so at least to kind of see what my expectations are and see if that aligns with them. Also, before we hire anyone, we do something here. We call it a vibe check. So we will let that person come in multiple times, meet with multiple people, just to kind of see how we feel, make sure they flow with the team. Because again, culture is so big. If you have one bad apple, it kind of ruins the bunch. So 100%, it needs to be a vibe check. They need to be able to have tough conversations. But I want to be close in my business. I love having a business, and as you know, it's kind of like your baby. So I also would be there to support that person if they're like, hey, I need help this first time, whether it's doing corrective action or I'm not quite sure what we're doing with these KPIs. I am very hands on. So walking someone through it and making sure they can understand it, or at least in the way that I want it to be completed, I would absolutely do that. And then if it's not a right fit, unfortunately, moving in a different direction.
I like the vibe check. We do that as well. Where I
God,
want the potential. It's like having a new prospective team member interview with your existing team members, and especially the ones you can trust and have a good relationship with, and see what they think. And having the person also that's interviewing ask about, the day to day, or the culture, or just having them understand that what they need to know to make a decision, because it's a two-way street, right?
yes. Like we want
But
to be a good fit for you, you a good fit for us.
you don't want people to be taking a job just because they need a job. But people do that. People do that.
Hmm. They do. And in other jobs I've worked with that, and it makes for not a great culture.
Yeah. But people, like, there's people who like sell themselves like because they need a job, and then it's like, and then becomes a 180 after like,
You're like,
a month or two.
who did you just turn into? Like, this is not who we thought we were. So definitely our last vibe check that we did, bless her heart. I mean, she probably came in like 6 different times with us, but she loved it. She got to shadow different positions. She got to come on a fun day, right? I think it was like Halloween at the spa, so we all wore fun outfits. So we got to see if she could fit in the fun days and just the normal days, and we love her. She's part of our team now.
As far as like I know you guys do a lot of injectables, right? And um, I know that that can lead to a lot of awesome upsells and cross sells. But like, how important is like the consultation, and how you teach and coach your staff on that, and also like your long term upsell and cross sell strategy, or what some might people call education, treatment planning, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Tomato.
Right. Okay. It's so important. I educate my other injectors and staff to basically no one should be doing one thing alone. I love to pretend like the face is a cake. And I say that people need to pull from all parts of the cake. So, say you are only doing Botox, right? We're thinking of cake. So, the Botox is your sprinkles, and then you have frosting, and you have the actual cake itself. So, for my injectors, I'm like, okay, you have Mary. She has only been doing Botox for like the last 8 months. You need to bake her cake, okay? So we need to pull from like the collagen portion. Like, is she microneedling? Is she doing skincare? Is she doing sculpture? If she's not, you're doing your client a disservice because you can't just put a band-aid on it. So the consultation is such a large portion of it. I think that's the biggest part that I spend time with my patient and my injectors and my estheticians explaining the whole face, because every patient will come to you and say like, oh, I don't want to look fake or I don't want to look overdone. Well, the best way to do that is kind of pulling from all those layers of that layer cake. So we need to have collagen stimulating going on if we are also doing Botox. Otherwise, yeah, if you're 70, you're only doing Botox or whatever. So absolutely, that is the biggest part. And once you explain it to patients, they get it. Like, oh yeah, like Botox is my band-aid. Like my root cause is I'm having skin laxity due to aging. I'm losing collagen. I have estrogen loss. And once you say like, hey, we can kind of help X, Y, and Z, and maybe you don't need as much Botox if you do those things, or maybe it'll look more natural. They're like, we're on board. We want it. Let's go. Sign us up.
As far as referrals, I think a lot of people struggle with referrals. What do you guys do differently to get, besides getting clients good results?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's number one.
First,
Like, duh. What do you guys? How do you approach referrals? Because I know a lot of people. One of my big rules in life is if you don't ask, you don't get.
yes.
And I feel like when you ask, there's the worst thing that can happen. Somebody can tell you no, which isn't that bad of a thing when you think about it. But I think people fear rejection in some ways, generally, societally. But what do you guys do differently to garner referrals? And like you said, getting clients results, obviously huge. I know when we both my spas and agency, like we drive a lot of referrals because we're helping people make a lot of money. So
Right. Absolutely.
so that helps. But tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. So I don't know if it's anything different, but we like to reward our patients for giving referrals. So if you refer someone, we will give you $50 and we'll also give that new patient $50 to use towards any service. So they like that. We actually had a patient today that had like 8 referrals on her account. And I'm like, wow, okay, these are stacking up, but good for her. She's referred 8 people to us. And then sometimes like during Valentine's Day, we'll do like double the love and you can get $100 for every referral. So we try to incentivize them for being great clients to us, but also, for bringing people in and giving that new person that money as well.
Gotcha. As far as like the spa experience, how I know you guys have a beautiful brand, and your location is really I would say elegant as well. How much of your own kind of like touch and your own perspective and outlook have you put into this the what you call the patient experience / the brand?
Oh my gosh, a lot of personal touch. Everywhere from we have a diffuser and we will change the scent like every few months. And our patients always like comment on that. And they're like, wow, it smells so amazing in here. We had different smells during Christmas. We have a different smell right now and we'll change it when it becomes, like spring. So we have those little touches. Are definitely our own because you want to go in somewhere and like stay somewhere where it smells good or reminds you of something. It triggers memories. So we like those. Having a coffee bar, that's like essential for me. And we'll do a fancy little coffee for them just to give it a more personalized touch.
I like that. What about like the standard? I like that. It's like it kind of makes me think of like a higher standard of like an elevated experience and stuff like that. How did you come up with that?
Okay, so I feel like there's med spa everywhere, and with all the experience that I have in injectables, I really wanted to be like, let's create the standard. This is what it should be. It should always be this elevated, and anything that's less than this is below the standard, right? So it is kind of the standard. So we like hold ourselves to a very, very high standard for our patients. Like I said, calling everybody the day after, having a more elevated smell. Everyone gets, something when they leave, whether You're getting Botox, you'll get a little pack afterwards. If you're getting lip filler, you get a lip gloss that's labeled with the standard on it, our logo. So just really setting ourselves apart with that.
As far as um, as far as getting clients results, I know you talk about education. What types of education do you feel have been absolutely critical for you and your staff for getting clients results? And what are some different types of education and training opportunities that aren't related to, let's just say, injecting or doing treatments that have also helped you guys be successful?
So business trainings are phenomenal, and I feel like they've helped me become successful and see things from a different perspective. Since I know this perspective so well, like the med spa. Allergan does a great training I went to, loved it, highly recommend it for the business owner, for the injector as well, to kind of convert that business side into a more educational side to sell, etc. That was a great one. Um, yeah, that one was phenomenal. That one really stands out for me.
What about so rep trainings or I'm sorry, provider trainings are really important. Um, some in-person stuff. What else?
So we do one Tuesday a month, we do a power hour with our team. So we have an hour where we bring in, like you said, like a rep or someone that we really need. We're like, oh my gosh, it is fall and we really want to start everyone on hydroquinone. So we need a power hour of our reps to come in and do that. So rep trainings are incredible. Love conferences. I think you should take your team to one every year, whether it be like AM Spa, Aesthetics Next, phenomenal trainings as well. And it's
Yeah,
really great for your culture.
yeah. I'm going to be speaking on aesthetic next to Sherry, so
Ooh, congratulations.
I
We'll
got a
probably be there.
little I got a little fun stuff planned.
Ooh.
Um, as it, speaking on that, do you feel like a lot of times people go to these conferences to talk about like services and education and stuff like that? And I've noticed, but I'm noticing a little bit of more of a shift towards actually business and sales and marketing as of recently. It's still, I feel like, not like a sexy topic. Those aren't sexy topics, but they're so important. They're absolutely critical, right?
Yes.
Right? Like some of the biggest issues people have is not having enough new clients or not nurturing existing clients, right? Why do you feel like it's taken so long and it's still like, do you think people are scared to like face their fears when it comes to sales and marketing? Like what's going on?
I know there actually is a huge shift. I noticed that where even Dr. Scupio did an amazing training this year or like late last year, and he had a really big business track. And I was like, wow, this is great. Like, yes, I appreciate the education, but like, I'm going to do the business track. I think we're seeing a lot more businesses that are like, hey, we're rolling, we're doing this, we know how to inject. Like, sure, you should get your education, a few courses every year, but like, I think we really need to educate ourselves now as medical professionals on the business side. So we need people like you. We need to be more educated on that. And like, hey, since now there is a med spa in every corner, like, how do I keep patients coming in? It's time to
Yeah.
do business.
Um, this is why people like me come in, right?
Yeah, we need you.
I feel like people. Why do you think there's this? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna pound this topic. And
Yes.
why do you think people are willing to spend hundreds of $1,000s on devices, but not sometimes shy away from spending a few grand on marketing?
Oh
What do
my
you think?
gosh. Right? I think because we're like, all right, this laser, this $200,000 laser, once I know how to learn, use it, and the people come in the door, I'm going to make so much money. But like, oh, wow, you want me to spend 5 grand on marketing? What if nobody comes? I think it's just that scary. Like, what if we're like, oh, guaranteed I'll make money if I use this, but you have to spend money on marketing. You truly do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I opened new locations from scratch and not as saturated markets, but like I had a really nice brand that was very thoughtful. Bought iconicspa.com for like 3.5 grand. It was a good purchase.
Love
I didn't even think that domain would be available
that.
in 20, I think it was 2023 or 4. I bought it and I was like, what the hell? Like, okay, I'll take it. But I did paid advertising. That's it. That's where I got to start. I was like, I would rather spend more money and put myself out there and take that risk than wonder where my next client is going to be coming from.
Exactly.
Right.
I think there needs to be more education on like marketing. And so I'm excited you're speaking at Aesthetics next.
Yeah. I mean, I need to be tons of education for sure. Um, as far as like entrepreneurial advice, I know we talked about a bunch of things, but like what is some of the message you want to give to people who are like trying to get to 7 figures? Not only just like about doing it for financial reasons. Obviously financials are motivating and stuff like that, but I feel like it's become very trendy to be a med spa owner, and
Mhm.
most med spa owners actually aren't doing well. Um, and as economy has kind of become a little bit more challenging, it's put a lot of pressure on people to do better and be better, in my opinion, because I think we're going to see a little bit of a cleanse, of a detox of this industry per se.
I do too.
So, um, what are some of the things that you like to share with people? I know I think you still train, correct?
Yeah.
So, like, some of the people you train are like, what do you like to share with them as far as like best practices and kind of your advice? Besides, hey, you got to invest in marketing,
Right.
right?
You do. You do. You have to spend money to make money, which is really scary, but you do. So invest in marketing. Hire that social media person as fast as you can. No. Um, Honestly, it is, if you are truly treating people correctly, you are doing the best you can, you're having a good follow up with them, they're gonna want to come back. That's another big thing. Schedule everybody before they leave, right? Everyone needs to be pre booked. You don't want anyone leaving your med spa before you have them pre booked on that schedule, even if it's that 2 week follow up. The more touch base you have with them, the more personality they get to see of yours, and the more they're going to want to like come to you versus like hopping around to different med spas. Um, so that's huge. Um, but it's a tough market, but you've got to yourself apart, and you have to figure out what works for you to set yourself apart in this market because it's a tough one.
Yeah, and to kind of wrap up this question, what do you think you guys are, besides getting clients results? Because I mean, I don't want to have to hammer that down because it's kind of like a no
Right.
brainer. Like you have to get clients results. If you're not getting clients results, you have to fix that. But like besides getting clients results, like why do you think you've retained such a loyal following? I know stay consistently booked out. Like the goal is to get some of your other girls more full, but like for you, why do you feel like people keep coming back to see Ashley? And the good thing about that is you can also kind of it flows over to you can flow over to some of your other areas of your business and create cross sells
Yeah.
and whatnot. But some key thoughts around you could call it loyalty as well and
Yes.
retention.
So one thing I always say when I'm injecting or training injectors rather is connect before you inject. I am very honest with my patients. I will never oversell them. I've had multiple people say, they like coming to me because I'm not salesy. I'm not going to just do something for the sake of doing it. So I think being very honest in creating an actual relationship with your clients or patients is a key to remaining booked. And I had a provider, unfortunately, the other day. She was like, so and so didn't want to see me. And because they thought they were with someone else. And she was like, I felt like I had to prove myself like worthy. And it's like, you don't have to prove yourself worthy, but you do have to credential yourself and let this person get to know you because this is a very intimate procedure. So, absolutely having your clients trust you, like connecting before you inject, right? Or before you do any procedure.
Connect before you inject.
Yes.
I like that. I in our industry, well, what I've been like sharing as a similar analogy would be the Maha movement, which is make a friend, help a friend,
I love this.
right?
Yes.
Uh, I saw it somewhere, some reel or whatever. I was like, this is so good. I was like, this is so good. It's like people expecting to sell somebody like right off the bat, or people being entitled and thinking somebody's just going to buy because they're in your chair. It's like not going to happen.
No.
Do you have to do that? There's no shortcuts. You have to do your homework. You have to connect with somebody. You have to learn about their pain points. You have to ask the right questions. You have to establish some sort of relationship. You have to lower the trust barrier. There's so many different things to help people actually, spend money with us. So, um, that I think is just like a good message to like do better, be better, right?
Yes.
Connect, be free, inject, make a friend, help a friend, um, and build a relationship with people before you expect them to spend, tens of thousands of dollars with you, but they can and they will, and every single client is really important. Even people who don't have the full budget, they may have friends who actually have the full budget, right?
Yes. And now we have, different things like Cherry, Care Credit. There's different ways to like finance your treatments, and they do. But you're right. You have to connect with them first.
Let's get in a couple fun questions before we wrap this thing up. Um, let's see. What is your least favorite character trait about you, Ashley?
Oh, let's see. The least favorite character trait about myself. I sometimes I have too much energy. I am very energetic and I wish I could come to a calmer level.
Um, I feel like that's like a political answer. Um, well, we need to dig in a little bit further. What is your favorite place that you go to outside of Cleveland that helps you recreate, reset, connect, and just enjoy your time? As entrepreneurs, it's really hard to not think about work, but we need that time away too. So, what is that place, or how do you do it?
Um, so it's a place for me anywhere with a mountain. So I am big on hiking. So give me a forest and I am completely zen and reset.
Beautiful, beautiful. And if people want to find you to connect with you, whether it's for training or to network with you, I'm the big mission behind this podcast as well is to create a community, is to help us connect with each other in today's very digital world. It's sometimes feels a little bit lonely, and I feel like it's important to continue to promote the idea of community and us helping each other be better, do better.
Yes.
Um, how can people find you?
Instagram is probably the easiest way. So I am nurse underscore A Reese, just my name.
There you go. There you go. Well, listen, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on our show today. This is absolutely phenomenal. You've given us a lot of insights about your story, how you got here, some nice golden nuggets to take home and implement. And guys, remember, implementation is key. Strategy is only as good as the execution. So, Ashley, I appreciate you joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.